The last train from Ashford was never meant to stop at Bramblewick. No official record admitted its existence. No conductor ever spoke its name aloud, and no passenger who boarded it intentionally ever returned to explain why they had done so. Yet on certain nights, quiet nights, when the air hung low and heavy over the countryside, when the tracks seemed to hum with something beneath the steel, the train slowed. And the doors opened. Oliver Grant did not believe in haunted places. He believed in structural fatigue, soil erosion, cost-cutting measures, and human error. As a civil surveyor, his job was to examine what others had abandoned and explain, in precise technical language, why those places had failed. Ghosts did not concern him. Unanswered questions did. That was why Bramblewick irritated him. The name appeared repeatedly in archived railway documents, each reference incomplete, closure notices without signatures, maintenance logs that ended mid-sentence, maps with faint outlines erased and redrawn, never quite aligning with reality. Closed in 1891. No cause listed. No demolition recorded. No replacement station built. It was as if the railway company had simply forgotten. Oliver spent 3 evenings reading everything he could find. By the 4th, the curiosity had settled into his bones like an itch. On Thursday night, rain pouring steadily onto the glass roof of Ashford International, he missed his connection to London by 4 minutes. The station was nearly empty. When the final train arrived, it did so without announcement. Oliver barely noticed. He was tired, soaked, irritated, and thinking about nothing more than a hot shower and sleep. He boarded without checking the destination board too closely. The carriage smelled old. Not antique, just neglected. Damp fabric, cold metal. The faint, unpleasant scent of something organic left to decay unnoticed. Only 6 other passengers sat inside. They were spaced too evenly. None of them spoke. The lights flickered as the train began to move. Oliver checked his phone. No signal. He leaned his head back, closed his eyes, and counted the seconds between track joints. The rhythm slowed. The sound changed. When the train finally decelerated, it did so smoothly, deliberately. The doors opened. Silence rushed in. Oliver opened his eyes. There was no station sign. No lighting. Just a stone platform stretching into darkness, its edges uneven, its surface cracked and slick with moisture. Moss crept along the seams like veins. Above it hung a clock. 11:52. The hands did not move. Something about that bothered him more than it should have. He stood. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, the temperature dropped sharply. His breath fogged in the air. The silence pressed against his ears until he became painfully aware of his own heartbeat. Behind him, the doors closed. He turned just in time to see the train slide away, not accelerating, not rushing, simply ceasing to be present. Gone. Oliver stood alone. The platform felt longer now, wider, as if space itself had stretched subtly while his attention had been elsewhere. A gravel path led away, bordered by hedges long since dead. Their branches twisted inward, forming a corridor that funneled his gaze toward a cluster of faint yellow lights in the distance. A village. Bramblewick. The village did not welcome him. It tolerated him. Houses leaned toward one another like conspirators, their windows glowing dimly behind heavy curtains. The architecture suggested late Georgian, early Victorian, brickwork darkened by soot, roofs bowed with age. No electricity poles. No cars. No roads marked for modern traffic. Only cobblestone streets worn smooth by feet that no longer hurried. The first sound Oliver heard, other than his own breathing, was a lantern being lifted. A man stood outside a pub. He was tall, gaunt, his face deeply lined in a way that suggested not age but repetition, as though the same expressions had been worn too many times. In his hand, he held a lantern whose flame burned orange and unstable. "You're late," the man said. Oliver swallowed. "I think I've made a mistake." The man considered this. "Yes," he said finally, "that's usually how it starts." The pub was called the Black U. Inside, time thickened. The air was warm but not comforting. Smoke hung motionless beneath the ceiling beams. The patrons' clothing was subtly wrong, nothing theatrical, nothing obviously historical but absent of modern textures. Wool, cotton, leather worn smooth. They watched Oliver enter, not with curiosity, with recognition. A woman behind the bar poured him a drink without asking. The liquid was dark and bitter. "You shouldn't drink that," Oliver said automatically. "You'll want to," she replied gently. He did. It tasted of smoke and something metallic beneath. "Where am I?" he asked. The woman hesitated. "Then between." Over the following cycles, days perhaps, hours maybe, Oliver learned Bramblewick in fragments. No one told the story straight through. They spoke in pieces, offered reluctantly, as though assembling the full truth risked drawing attention. In 1891, a train arrived unscheduled. It stopped at Bramblewick, a rural station already in decline. Passengers disembarked. Something disembarked with them. Not a creature, not a being, a function, a correction in the system of movement and destination. It fed on transition, on people who were not where they belonged, who hesitated between choices, who boarded trains unsure of where they were going or why. Bramblewick became a container. Time bent inward. Those who arrived did not age. Those who stayed did not leave. And those who faded were replaced. Oliver noticed patterns. Children never grew. Mirrors were covered. Clocks did not work, except the one on the platform. Every few nights, a low hum passed through the village, vibrating through walls and bone alike. On those nights, someone vanished. Their house was boarded up by morning. No grief. No funeral. Just absence. Sleep became dangerous. Oliver dreamed of tunnels that curved impossibly, their walls lined with human faces pressed into brick, eyes open, mouths stretched in silent screams. He woke with his heart racing, the sound of steel scraping against steel echoing through his skull. He tried to leave. Beyond the village lay the old rail line, swallowed by fog so dense it felt solid. Shapes moved within it, tall, thin silhouettes bending at wrong angles, their movements synchronized with the hum beneath the earth. They were not watching him. They were waiting. The lantern man found him there. "You boarded between stops," he said quietly. "What does that mean?" Oliver asked. "It means you were unfinished." The night Oliver vanished, the villagers gathered on the platform. The clock shuddered, ticked forward 1 minute. The train arrived. Far away near Ashford, a commuter train slowed unexpectedly. Its doors opened, and someone stepped off.